let's talk about budget tracking and cost control. On this one, let's understand the following key definitions. Number one, budget tracking. That is monitoring expenses and comparing them to the planned budget in real time. So here is where you're trying to monitor how you're spending your money for a particular project. Okay, cost control. This is where you're managing and adjusting expenditures to keep the project within its budget. So here where you're trying to adjust the expenditures so that you don't go beyond what you budgeted for. Okay, what is the importance? Number one, ensures project financial health. So by the end of the day, you cannot run in the situation where you are running out of cash. Once you are able to budget, track, and cost control. Another one, you are able to prevent cost overruns. Okay, another one, you are able to improve decision making as well as resource allocation. So because you are tracking your budget, you can be able to make very good resource and you know where to put which particular resource. Let's talk about steps for effective budget tracking. Number one, set a baseline budget. So you are supposed to have got a baseline, the budget where you are starting from. For example, you're having a baseline budget of 50,000. That is where you are starting from for your project. So it can be any number. Okay, another one, use budget tracking tools. So make sure you have got tools like Microsoft Project, Microsoft Excel, Trello. So those are going to help you. Right. Okay. So let us talk about benefits of using those particular tools. Number one, real-time visualization as well as alerts. So because inside these particular tools, it's where you write your budget, so you can easily see how you're performing, and it can easily alert you with the way how you are performing. Another one, it is tracking actual costs. So on that one, for you to track actual costs, you're supposed to record all the direct and indirect expenses transparently. So make sure you've got a notepad where you are writing all the indirect and the direct costs. Number four step, it's monitor cost variance. So we have got an example there where you have got your planned cost to be $5,000. Then the actual cost after doing the project, it is found to be $6,000. That means the variance there, it is where you're saying planned cost minus actual cost, which is $1,000. So that difference is there between the actual and the planned. The difference, that is the variance. Okay, you need to report regularly. So make sure that you conduct regular meetings with the stakeholders so that you can be updating them on the budget spending. Okay, let's talk about cost control techniques. Number one, variance analysis. So variance analysis, you need to identify the difference between the planned and the actual cost. So for example, on that one, we are talking of a budget material cost reduced in non-critical areas. So for example, you have budgeted for your project. So in your project, you find that there are materials which no matter what, they are supposed to remain the same, right? And you find that in your budget, there are some materials that when you can decide to say, I'm going to reduce the number of these ones, they will, after reducing the number, that one will not affect the project. So what you do is that let's say you have gone to the market and you find that the cost for those things, the cost of things at the market have gone up. So what you're going to say is that I'm going to take the money from these things which I can reduce their amount, and that particular money I'm going to add towards the things which, but no matter what, I'm supposed to keep them constant for my project to run smoothly. Okay, let's talk about end value management. On that one, we need to understand cost variance. So that one measures financial performance. Then you have got schedule variance. That one measures time performance. So let's look at the following formula example. So the formula example is where I've got end value, that is 30,000, right? So that if we're talking of end value, that is the budget that has been spent on a particular task. Actual value, $35. Actual value, it is the actual amount of money that has been spent. The first one is actual budget spent, but this one is actual amount spent. Planned value, that is the budget that was planned. So the budget that was planned is 40,000. So for us to calculate cost variance, what we are going to do is we are going to say end value, that is budget that has been spent minus the actual amount that has been spent, and there it is found to be minus $5,000. That means there is an over budgeting with what? With minus $5,000. From there, let's understand schedule variance. So for us to find schedule variance, we say end value, that is budget that has been spent minus the budget that was planned, 30,000 minus 40,000. The answer is minus 10,000. That means now the project is behind the schedule by that amount of money. Let's talk about advanced cost control techniques. Number one, cost forecasting. Right. So on this one, you're trying to predict the cost of future. You're trying to predict the future cost based on current spending trends. So let's say every 2 weeks, the things on the market are moving up by 20%. That means you as a project manager, you can have that vision to say, my project which will be done in 6 months time, I should prepare this amount of money, because I understand that each and every time the amount of things on the market are skyrocketing. Okay, so that is an example that I was talking about. Okay, and another advanced control technique is implement cost control. So on implementing cost control, you are trying to prioritize critical tasks. So all the critical tasks, as I remember we talked of the network diagram, and on network diagram we managed to spot out the critical path analysis. So in the critical path analysis, that's where you are able to find the critical tasks. So you need to prioritize those ones. Another one, you should be able to limit scope creep. So scope creep, these are activities which are just coming into a project, but they were not firstly approved. So you should try to avoid any task to come into a project which was not initially approved. Another one, you should negotiate contract for savings. So by the end of the day, whenever you're having, there is a certain contract, please try to negotiate with those guys so that at least you should try to save some funds. Another one is the reallocation resources. So this is where you are trying to shift resources from other areas which are you're trying to shift resources from other areas into crucial areas, right? So you're taking risks from other areas which cannot be very much affected, and you're bringing those resources into the crucial areas. Okay, let's talk about best practices for budget tracking and cost control. Number one, involve stakeholders to ensure accountability. Number two, automate reporting for real-time insight. So make sure that there is automatic reporting, right? Whenever something happens, make sure you instantly report that particular thing. Okay, another one, it is where you are supposed to track your key performance indicators. So track those particular key performance indicators. For example, you need to track cost variance, right? So track cost variance. Another one, you need to track the burn rate. The burn rate, that is the speed at which you are spending your budget, the speed. So track your speed. Another one, you should track your cost performance index, that's CPI. So the CPI deals with efficiency of spending. So also track your efficiency of how you're spending your budget. Another one, review contracts and invoices for accuracy. So review contracts as well as the invoices for buying different materials. Another one, monitor risk and use contingency reserve effectively. So use that particular contingency of between 5 to 10%, use it efficiently and monitor all the possible risks. Right, let's talk about challenges and solutions. Challenges and foreseeable expenses. So for you to deal with this one, you need to build a flexible and risk fund into the budget. So you should have a risky funding into the budget in case there are some unforeseeable circumstances. Another one, it is poor record keeping. So poor record keeping, make sure that you have use automated tools for expense tracking. So you should make sure that you have got automated tools. For example, we are talking of Microsoft Project, Excel, Trello. All those you should be using them. Stakeholders resistance. So for stakeholders resistance to be dealt with, you need to provide justification to gain buy-in. So please talk to those stakeholders, sit with them, convince them, so that they can bear with you as a project manager. Thank you so much.